by you being in education for so many years, you've been doing this longer than a lot of people have been alive. Have the technological advancements, the introduction of AI, is that something, is it helping people become more educated, or is it the opposite from your perspective?
The answer is yes and yes. um, it is easier than ever before to be connected to a good course at a good college or university, um, and to take a course for a fraction of what it would cost if you were actually at the college or university. And if you have a little money, you can have a person to read your papers and grade you and give you feedback in what you're doing. So these are things my grandparents, who were born in the end of the 19th century, could not even have imagined. However, there are a couple things which make it more complicated. One thing is while almost everybody in the world now, I think in Africa, elsewhere, has access to some kind of a smart device like this, it's not used primarily for education. It's used for gambling, for entertainment, for mischief. It's very bad for young girls, particularly because they get very hung up on what they look like, and if they aren't as beautiful as the girl in their class, or as who is the Taylor Swift, if they're not as beautiful as Taylor Swift, they feel very bad, and probably for boys too, if they're not as good soccer players, as good, marksmen, be able to shoot as well as somebody else. They can feel bad. So the potential of education in our century is greater than ever before. But not only you can't force people to take a course from MIT in computer science just because it's available. It's also the case, and this is a much more difficult question. When we have smart machines that can read and calculate much better than we can, should we be learning those things, or should we rely on what the machines can do, and instead try to do human related things, like what does it mean to be a good person? What does it mean to be an ethical person? What happens when we're in a planet where climate change could destroy life as we know it, where nuclear weapons could destroy life as we know it? My own educational recommendation would be, it's less important for everybody to learn calculus or learn to read a foreign language or to speak a foreign language, and more important to learn to be moral and ethical people. And that, in a way, takes us back to religion, which is thousands of years old, but also to what it means to live in a modern society where we are citizens and most of us have a chance to be informed. In any kind of a democratic society, we have a chance to vote, and that means we have some say on who the leadership is. And from my own frame of mind, I think learning to be a good citizen in the 21st century is better and more important than mastering a curriculum which my parents or your great-grandparents would have had to master if they went to a school in the end of the 19th century.
Wow. Okay. I really appreciate your perspective, from the psychology and the educational standpoint, because no matter who I interview, if it's a musician, if it's an actor, if it's an engineer, if it's somebody that's into medicine, everybody has this perspective on AI. Sometimes people are all for it, and then some people are struggling to, make that adjustment.